Our project discusses school-wide positive behavior support by Brittany, Lorraine, Molly, and Terry. Halls Elementary School is located in an urban area. There are 500 students enrolled for grades pre-K through third grade. Students have demonstrated academic and behavioral challenges. 75% of students have received ODRs, and many students are multiple offenders. The pre-K and kindergarten students run up and down the hallways, sometimes hide, and have run out of the buildings. Some teachers have developed hallway rules, while others have not. Many teachers yell at students about their behavior. The school only has 2 instructional assistants to cover 4 hallways. They have 6 special education teachers and 5 special teachers. The school does not have enough money to hire additional staff. So, what is school-wide positive behavior support? Well, since the students are demonstrating both academic and behavioral challenges, we're going to focus on the behavioral part first by implementing SWPBS. So, it is an approach that helps to prevent and reduce undesirable problem behaviors, and it also promotes positive pro-social behaviors. And in recent years, it's been used as an alternative to punitive forms of discipline because it's been proven to be so effective. When schools implement SWPBS, they have seen decreases in inappropriate behaviors, and those are typically mentioned by ODR and suspensions. It's imperative to create consistent implementation procedures and to dedicate attention to practices that need additional support. SWPBS can be used in 3 tiers for intervention, which are primary or universal, so school-wide, secondary, which are targeted interventions to like small groups of students, or tertiary, which are individualized and often consist of like an FBA or functional behavior assessment. So the training materials, so we'll provide teachers with an overview of SWPBS, basically how it works, show them what the research is like that proves its effectiveness. And then we'll also have other materials for training and professional development, such as a video that kind of discovers SWPBS, sample lessons plans, and visuals that help with behavior expectations and further how to implement. And there's also another article for parental involvement because that will prove to be crucial and help with the implementation and the process and the effectiveness. And furthermore, for training and materials, we'll go over procedures for implementing SWPBS. We'll have a token system. We're going to specifically use Class Dojo because it's important that we reward behaviors for the students and acknowledge when they're doing something correct. We'll have data collection procedures. So we'll also be taking into account how many ODRs, suspensions, expulsions, anything like that to see how we've improved and what we can do better as time goes on. And then finally, there will be posters and pictures so teachers can have these in their classroom to serve as a visual for students.
I'm next going to talk to you about how to implement an SWPBS plan, the various steps involved. The first step is to, before you begin, examine the various data sources to determine areas of priority for your behavior change. These can include things such as rates of office discipline referrals, suspensions, expulsions, achievement and state assessment scoring, as well as special education referrals. From this data, you'll be able to drive your desired outcomes that are observable, measurable, specific, and annual outcomes based on this data that you've collected. So the next part that you'll have to do is select a team that will really spearhead the implementation process. In the Simonson, Sugay, and Negrand article, they recommend having a team that has some great social influence over students. After you have that team, you're going to want to determine a quality data collection system that's going to show you that your intervention plans are working, not working, and help you to drive some decisions from there. Third point on this slide is this team will attend trainings for PBIS, and then they will be the ones responsible for disseminating this information to the rest of the staff. Next, the team, as well as in collaboration with the rest of the staff, will select 3 to 5 expectations for students. Now, each of these expectations will be carried out by selecting target behaviors for each of the expectations. These target behaviors should be developed across school settings, such as the hallways, cafeteria, gym, classrooms, all the different environments that students are going to be in throughout the course of their school day. From here, the team will design lesson plans and instructional activities to explicitly teach these target behaviors to students. Next, the team will determine systematic methods for increasing supervision within the school. So this will not only create more structure, but it also provides more opportunities for students to receive positive reinforcement, more opportunities to catch them being good or engaging in those target behaviors. Just more opportunities for that positive reinforcement, which is empirically evidenced through principles of ABA. Next, team members determine means for opportunities for positive reinforcement for target behaviors. Now, whether that be giving out green tickets, whether that be using a classroom dojo like we've done in our implementation plan, or even just providing social contingent praise for engaging in those target behaviors. So the same way that students are acknowledged for engaging in those target behaviors, it's also recommended in the research that the staff is also recognized for implementing SWPBS with fidelity and consistency. And lastly, we want to schedule and hold regular SWPBS meetings to review data. Data should be analyzed to recognize successes, areas of improvement, celebrate success, and it's really important to share those results with students, families, and the community at large.
Data collection will begin with using the school-wide positive behavior support evaluation, the school-wide evaluation tool. Using the school-wide evaluation tool, you will begin with the implementation guide, and that will lay out all the parts to the assessment that you will do. You will gather materials from the school, such as the office disciplinary referrals, and understand what their behavioral expectations have been in the past and what they expect them to be in the future. The protocol for the data collection states that you should conduct the assessment prior to beginning the implementation, 6 to 12 weeks after it has begun, and then you should be doing it annually from there on out. The interview process always begins with your interview with the administrator. This is where you find out, as I said, the behavioral expectations, what rules are in place, and what they hope to accomplish. There is only one form that's needed to go about and conduct all the interviews within the school. That's among staff, students, and as well as 2 observations that will be conducted. The information that you gather with the set all cover areas of behavioral expectations, teaching behavioral expectations, the reward system, system for handling violations, database decision-making, administrative support, and district level support. When all of these interviews have been completed, answers are recorded, and then they're assigned a value of 0, 1, or 2. The set manual that can be found online at pbis.org explains all of the data collection procedures and scoring guides.
The teachers will have to do some modeling in their classroom. This is the poster each staff member will be given during the training by the SWPBS committee. Each teacher will be responsible for going over this poster with their class. Teachers will need to teach their students each of the ways to correctly walk in the hallways. Class Dojo is where the staff members will be able to reward students with points, but also take points away. Parents will be able to have access to this to keep them up to date with how their child is doing in school. And when it comes time to reward the students, this is an example of the report that you will be able to print out for each student. You can customize the date range for whatever you need it to be. And these will be used to determine the rewards for the students. And then the current practices at Halls Elementary for correcting behavior in hallways have been ineffective. Such measures have included punitive-based consequences and teacher efforts to create rules for their individual classes. Despite staff efforts, student behavior has shown no improvement. Staff members have no consistencies and expectations and no framework for providing positive reinforcement contingencies. SWPBIS is an approach that will promote implementation, consistency, and fidelity amongst Halls Elementary staff members. SWPBIS utilizes empirically evidenced principles for behavior change and applied behavior analysis. This includes, but is not limited to, positive reinforcement and data collection.
As part of the school-wide implementation plan, Halls Elementary School will select this school-wide behavior team to undergo initial training in PBIS. The action team will be responsible for disseminating information to the rest of the school staff through a series of professional development days. The 3 behavioral expectations that were developed by the team are that students will behave safely, students will behave respectfully, and students will be well-mannered. As part of students will behave safely, examples of this is that students will walk in single file lines on the right side of the hallway. They will step forward, they will be using walking feet, and they will remain in line while walking, following the person in front of them. They will also remain in the building unless given permission from the staff. Non-examples of this include running, walking or running in the middle of the hallway, walking around backwards, or exiting the building without permission. As part of students who behave respectfully, examples of this are students who have quiet voices, keep hands and feet to themselves, and hands by their sides or behind their backs. When someone begins a conversation with them, they should smile and give them the quiet sign as a reminder. Non-examples of this are pushing, hitting, talking loudly in the hall, touching the property of others, touching the walls, and raise your voice to tattling on fellow classmates. As far as being well-mannered, students will hold the door for others, they will wave silently to friends and teachers, they will follow teacher instructions the first time, and they will remain in their designated spot in line. Non-examples of this would be ignoring teacher instructions, getting out of line, cutting people in line, stepping on the backs of others' shoes, and putting your hands on other students during transitions.
Continuing on with our school-wide implementation plan, teachers will provide explicit instruction to students based on these behavioral expectations, including specific examples and non-examples of target behaviors like we just listed previously. Hall Elementary staff will systematically extend supervision in hallways during transitions, increasing those opportunities for positive reinforcement and behavior that's recognized. Hall Elementary staff will supervise transitions while holding clipboards. When he or she notices a student engaging in a target behavior, the student will be acknowledged with specific praise, such as, "I like the way you're walking with your hands by your sides. You're being safe." And from there, the student, that teacher following that transition, can go back into their classroom, enter that student's name so that they get some points on their classroom dojo. All of the teachers have access to every class's roster, so they'll be able to easily award points. All of these pre-implementation tasks, all that kind of behind the counter work, will be done in a series of professional development days. Day one will be just very much an intro to SWPBS, the research behind it, behavioral expectations, reviewing some exemplar visuals. There'll also be a follow-up professional development session where teachers will share out their visuals they're using, share out any learning activities that they found helpful, any just great teaching strategies that they want to share out for others to use throughout this process. So we've done that follow-up training.
Every staff member has to implement the program with fidelity for the best behavioral outcomes. Behaviors may get worse before they get better, but remain consistent and they will get better. If you see a student exhibiting the defined behaviors, it is essential to provide contingent, specific, and immediate praise for the behavior. Acknowledging the positive behavior of students not only increases the likelihood that the behavior will occur for that student, it will also serve as motivation for other students as well.